Okay. So I'm assuming, for instance, that I'm going to first of all create an instance, and you guys have done that by using Metasploit before, but I will go a step further to use one tool called Redline to do the investigation or analysis. So we are considering that there is an incident that has happened and a Windows machine has been hacked. So how to investigate this incident? So let me first create the incident. So you guys are familiar with the MSF console, for instance, right? So it's a Metasploit framework. I think I don't know if you have used it, but you will use it if you haven't used it till now. So we will have some labs in which you are going to probably try to hack a Windows machine or a Linux machine. So I love Dells Egypt. Okay. So like I said, I'm not going to go into the detail of Metasploit. I'm just going to demonstrate basically what I'm doing. So I'm going to use an exploit or called, can you please switch off your mic? Use exploit multi/handler. Okay. Excuse me, somebody's mic is on. If you can please switch it off. Okay. So I'll set the L host, which is equal to 36.132. I'm going to set the L port 1234. I'm going to set the payload, which is Windows/meterpreter/reverse_TCP. All right. So that's basically what I need in terms of running an exploit, and it will be waiting for a connection to be established. So this is how the scenario that I'm creating is that I'm going to create an exe file, the way you created an APK file, if you remember, for the mobile Android. This time I'm going to create an executable file, which I'm going to transfer it to my Windows 7 machine. And it's not necessary to have Windows 7. It will work with Windows 10 also, whatever latest version of Windows you have, it should work. The reason I'm using Windows 7 is because it requires only 1 GB RAM to run Windows 7. And then when I do the analysis, I need to take the RAM image, which is going to be 1 GB. I have Windows 10, but it is using 4 GB, so I cannot take 4 GB image and then try to analyze it. You know, it's just for the demo purposes. So it really doesn't matter which Windows it is, okay? Now I'm going to just exploit it and start waiting. So you can see here that the handler is waiting for somebody to click the exe file on the other side, and then it will make a reverse connection with Windows. And then basically what it means is that we were able to hack the Windows machine. Okay, but first of all, we need to create now the exploit, the payload that I need to transfer it there. Okay, so for that, I'm going to use MSF Venom, and you guys have worked with MSF Venom when you created the APK file. The only difference here now is that I'm using a different payload, which I just configured here. So I need to use the same payload, which is Windows meterpreter reverse TCP. Lhost is the IP address of the Kali Linux. Lport is the port on which this Kali Linux or my exploit is listening. -f is for the format of the file, which I'm going to call it exe. And then I'm going to write -o as an output that I want to save it on the desktop. So I need to give the whole path desktop. And I'm going to call it, for example, Skype.exe, for example. Okay, so I'm creating a Skype.exe file. And then I'm going to transfer this file to the Windows. So we are assuming that we have transferred this file somehow. Maybe you share a link with the victim, the target. He's going to click it. Maybe you put it on some website from where people are downloading files. So they also download your malware or this malicious file. So as you can see that I have a Skype.exe executable file, which is created by MSF Venom. Now I need to transfer it to the Windows. So the usual way that I transfer it like this, I will just start the Apache server. The web server of the Kali Linux. I'm going to copy the file which I just created on desktop, which is called Skype.exe, and I'm going to move it to /var, /var/www/html. So what I'm doing here is that I started the web server on the Kali Linux and I copied this file Skype.exe into this directory, which is var/www/html. Now I go to the Windows machine and I'm going to just download the file here on the Windows. So 192.168.36.132 Skype.exe, I'm downloading it. Okay, as soon as it gets downloaded, you can see here, I'm just going to, so right now what you can see is that my handler is waiting for somebody to double click that file and it will make a connection with this machine. So, okay. So I'm going to run it. And as you can see, when I double click it, it started making a session now. What it essentially means is that now I have access to the Windows machine, okay? As you can see here, for example, if I want to see the process list of the Windows, what processes are running on the Windows, you can see all those processes. If I want to see, if I want to go into the Windows itself, into the C directory, I can just type shell. And now you can see that I'm inside the Windows downloads folder. I can use Windows commands here to see what files are there. So as you can see, the Skype.exe that I just copied there or downloaded there is also there. And then this is the OSEC agent Wazo and all that. Okay. Now this is not the part of the lab that I wanted to demonstrate. I mean, this is just that I have created an instance. So let's assume that the Windows that you're trying to investigate has been hacked, and now you are looking into or you are thinking about how to start the investigation, how to find out. No, not this one. Redline by main int. Okay, FireEye. FireEye is a very big organization. I think one of the top security companies in the world. They have developed this tool called Redline, and it's completely free. You can download it and install it. Okay, so it is used for the host investigation, find the signs of malicious activities through the memory file analysis and all that. So like I said, it's not compulsory to do this lab today, but if you're interested, you can go ahead and try it out. Okay. Now the next step that I have to do is that I'm going to run Redline. So I have already set it up on my Windows machine. It's just a simple installation. There's no complication in it. So the first thing that you need to do in the Redline is that you have to create a collector. So I will create a standard collector for now. So what operating system are you trying to analyze for the incident? Well, it's a Windows for me, but it can be, you know, the Mac OS. It can also be the Linux. Okay, this is one thing. Then you need to go and edit you can edit your script. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to. What it means is that what exactly the information you're looking for from the target system that you're analyzing. Okay, so the process lists are there, right? So the strings can also be, you know, analyzed. Are you looking for some file enumeration? Means that you want to go through the files of the target system. Well, in this case, I'm more looking into the memory side, not the files, but you can check, of course, if you want to do the file analysis. On the system side, what information you want from the system. Obviously, we need to know the machine and the operating system information. If you want to have the user accounts information, you can check this one. If you want registry information of the target system that you're analyzing, you can create these. You can also check registry. But the more you choose the options, it will take a little bit time for Redline to do, pull that information from the operating system. But anyways, at least I want this one. I don't need the restore points, the registry highway enumeration. I really don't need it at this point. But if you're doing registry analysis, dealing with the malware incidents, I will highly recommend that you do the registry. And then do you want the logs from the Windows? Well, it really depends. If you want to go into the logs and check them, you can check this option to get the event logs of the Windows. Okay, for now, I will just leave it like this. Port enumeration on the network, from the network side, what exactly information are you looking for? Do you want to the port enumeration? Okay, yes, I want. Do you want ARP tables? Well, if you think that there is an ARP poisoning attack that has happened on the target system, if you're suspecting, you can get the ARP table from the target system as well. The DNS information can also be if there is a DNS poisoning, or if you suspect that the DNS entries on your target system has been modified, you can check that as well. Do you want any browser history, like if there was a file downloaded? Well, in our case, the file was downloaded, so I'm going to, let's just say that, check the file download. And the URL history, I'm not really interested in that. What other services you want? Do you want MD5 SHA1 or these digital signatures? Of course, you usually, when you are doing the investigation or incident handling, you do check these things that you want to have some hashes or signatures. So, because eventually you have to present it in the court of law, whatever incident that you have detected. So there you need to show that the information that you gathered is not modified while you were investigating. So maybe you want to have these services switched on as well. But for the demo purposes, I'll just leave it like that. Okay, once I'm done with this, and it also says that do you want to acquire an image of the memory that can be used accurately? Well, you can check that as well if you like. Okay, now I want to save this collector. So at the bottom, you can see that I need to choose a folder where I want to save it. So I have this Coding Dojo folder. I'm going to call it investigation or Windows 7, for example, collector. All right. So I'm going to double click and then select the folder. So now it is going to create the collector files. Let's wait. So your collector package is created and saved in the location. So it has been created now. Let's just see where it is. So this is my collector folder for Windows 7. Okay. So what do I need to do with all these files? Well, it's very simple. I will just copy it and I'm going to go and paste it in the Windows. So remember, the Windows has been hacked and you're trying to investigate it. Remember, you will never start the investigation on the machine itself, because from the forensic analysis point of view, which you are going to do tomorrow or study tomorrow, is that you are never going to work on the actual operating system, because you want to take the image and you want to gather all that information and go ahead and analyze on another machine, which I'm doing right now. Okay, open this folder and you will find here run Redline audit. So I will just double click this script and will start doing its job. You don't need to do anything at this point after double clicking. You just have to wait for some time. That's it. I'll just wait for a few more minutes. Maybe it's running something in the background. Okay, guys, do you understand the scenario that I just explained to you and what I'm trying to do? Do you have any questions at this point? Are you there, guys?
Yes, with you, Mr.
Okay, good. Let's check continuous. By the way, you guys have worked with the Metapredator before or no, with the Metasploit? Was there any lab done or no?
No.
Okay, it's very interesting, by the way. I will show you. So I'm going to go back to the Metapredator session. Like, for example, if I want to take the screenshot of the target that I have just exploited, I can just type screenshot, and you can see here that there is an image of in the root folder. So let me just show you. So if I go to the root folder and it has created an image, or it has taken a screenshot, you can see here. It has basically taken the screenshot of the target system. But you guys are going to learn it, okay? We have a couple of labs on the Metasploit, show you how to exploit a Windows machine. So you can see I have taken the screenshot of the target, right? So this Metapredator is amazing, to be honest, one of my favorites. Okay, let's go back to the actual thing, what we are doing. So I have now this collector ready. I'm just going to copy it back. Where is it? Coding Dojo. I'm going to go to the analysis folder and paste it there. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the red line. And you can see here it says analyze data. You can analyze the memory images as well. Like you can see here, I did a memory analysis on Crydex malware. So that's different. Like if you have a .mem files, you can analyze them also. Right now, I'm doing the analysis of a session. So no, this is for the memory, I guess. Okay. So I have the analysis. I go to the Windows 7 collector. You will see these sessions. So this is the session 1 that is there. I'm going to double click it. So it's actually preparing and loading the information that was collected by the red line from the Windows 7 machine.
Mr. Asad,
Yeah.
what's the difference between this analyze and the first one we did?
Sorry, I didn't get it.
What's the difference between this analyze and the first one we did?
Which first one we did?
The
one that
we did the Android malware.
You mean you're asking me the analysis that I have done it for the malware?
Yes.
Yeah, so that was a malware incident in which, for example, the malware deleted some files. It downloaded some other, malicious files. The purpose of the Crydex malware was different. The one we are investigating is kind of a malware, but used for the exploitation of the system, right? So in that case, I was actually analyzing an actual malware, which is a Crydex malware. If you Google it, you will find out what was Crydex and what it did. So basically, yes, they are essentially belong to the same category, but in this case, I'm just simply investigating that the Windows has been exploited or not. Okay.
Thank you.
These are the different types of, you can start your investigation. I'm just trying to review a triage collection, or I'm investigating a host based on the external investigation lead. I'm just reviewing the web history. I want to search my data with a set of indicators of compromise. So there are different options that are available. We are just going to go ahead with the first one to start investigation. Now, as you can see that it has gathered a lot of information from the target system to do the investigation. The first one that you see here is the system information. on which we just ran that, and then it gives you the information. It's a Windows 7 professional operating system, the build and everything, and it's a 32-bit operating system. You can also see that it is also showing at the bottom that it belongs to the work group. The user who was logged in was administrator at that time, right? So pretty, much all the information it has pulled. And then you can see here the interesting information that we are more interested in the processes. In the processes, it basically shows all the processes that are running. So remember, investigating an incident really requires a lot of information. It is one of the most interesting fields, but at the same time, it is one of the most difficult fields as well. After malware analysis, I will say, because malware analysis is even more difficult. Here, you're not doing the malware analysis. Remember that we are just investigating the incident. Why I'm saying that it's more challenging? Because you require a lot of information, to start the investigation. Like you need to know about Windows, you need to know about the processes which run on the Windows, you need to know, like I'm just saying an example. If you are investigating on Windows and you don't know what is lsas.exe, it's better you don't start the investigation, right? So what I mean is, like, for doing the investigation, you need to know quite a bit of information, like what are these processes, how they are running. So you will learn that obviously when you start working. But like I said, it's a bit challenging because you need to know about different operating systems, the file types, the type of processes that are running, system files, and so that you don't confuse the malicious program with the system files and all that, right? So if you see here, these are the list of processes which are there. This is the process ID, the path from where this process is running. So you can see, some of these are system. This is for the login, username and password when you enter. So lsas.exe belongs to that. This is also the Windows login. So it's, by the way, it's not going to automatically tell you, this Redline tool, that okay, there is the incident that has happened. It doesn't work like this. It's not an antivirus or anti-malware kind of software. So it will gather all the information for you on another system, and now you will start investigating. So let's just see, for example, the skype.exe that we were talking about. And as you can see here, that it is running from this directory. And what we are going to look for is, so just a minute. Okay. Now, another thing that I want to see here is the ports, for instance. So let's just assume that we detected and we found out that there is one process which is running on the system which says that I'm skype.exe. So we want to further investigate, for example, that, okay, let's just find out. So let's just find out, like, on which port it is running, to which port it is sending the, connected to the external system. Can I get rid of this bar? Okay. So this is the one that we were looking for. And by the way, the interesting thing here is that you can right click and also tag it. Like if you think that this is the incident that needs to be escalated, you can escalate it. If you think that it's a false positive, you can label it as a false positive, so that it will be labeled throughout the whole investigation and throughout the all other fields as well, that this incident is basically a false positive. If there's a follow-up required, you can, if this is, you wanted to include it in the incident report, you can do that as well. So for example, I'm just going to, for now, put it as a follow-up required for this particular instance. Now, if you see here that it says that it has It is running on local machine on port 49767, and it is making an external connection with 132 with the port number 444. Now, if you remember, when I created the incident, when I created this in the MSF Venom, I was using port. Okay, it's but you remember, right? When I was using port 44 to create. Let's see, yeah. So if you remember, this is the IP of the Kali Linux, and this is the port number on which it was waiting for the connection, and the information that you see here. So you then further try to dig it out. When you look at the IP address, obviously it is not going to be a local IP. In the real life scenario, it is going to be a public IP. So what you can do is you can even start investigating the public IP address itself as well. Like, for example, if I go here and I go to virus total, for example. By the way, you can take the hash of that file and also investigate and put it on the virus total to find out if it's, you know, if it's malicious or not. So here in the virus total website, you can also, so for example, let's just say this was a public IP address, and you can just put it here, and it will tell you if it has been flagged by some other organization. And so in this way, you are actually investigating the domain itself or the IP itself to which your machine has been connected, right? For now, it's 36.132, so obviously it's a private IP address. It is not going to give me any results if it's malicious or not. If there is a URL you are investigating, you can copy the URL. You can even put the hash of the file. So for example, the file is skype.exe. I can take the hash and I can put it there to find out if it's malicious or not, so on and so forth. So you can further escalate your, what do you call that, investigation, okay? So this is the user information on that system, that what are the different users which are there available on the machine itself. So you may suspect that, okay, maybe the hacker, he has created another user which actually doesn't belong here. So you can also do that, by the way. Once you exploit the system, you can create a user as well. Okay. So this is the file history download. So if you are suspecting that maybe there is some files that were downloaded or not, you can actually go through this and find out if there were some files downloaded from an external link to your local machine as well, right? So, and then interesting thing about this tool is that you can look at all the events that are happening with the timeline itself, right? So you can see here the timeline, the user logged in, for example, if there was a file download that was happening. So it's all basically in a timeline. So if you see here, I just, rearranged it with the latest first. It was showing the oldest one first. So you can see here, for example, there are some events that have happened here. Some date and time, process, system 32. I'm just looking at, if you see here, Skype.exe was downloaded somewhere here on this particular date and time, right? So like I said, I mean, it's an amazing tool for investigation. It's one of my favorite tools. You can analyze any type of instance that you're looking for, pretty much. Okay, guys. So this was the demonstration from my side. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys want to practice it, I'm going to upload the recording. So you need, in this case, 2 virtual machines, one that you want to investigate, the other one which you want Kali Linux, which you already have to create the incident, and then you have the host operating system on which you are going to run the Redline to investigate it further. Okay, guys, I will just stop sharing my screen and stop the recording so that if you have any questions, you can Interesting. Okay.